Once upon a time, long after the evil queen was gone and peace had returned to the kingdom, Snow White ruled with kindness and grace. Her castle stood tall, surrounded by blooming gardens and loyal subjects. But deep in the north, beyond the Frostveil Mountains, an old magic began to stir. One quiet evening, as Snow White wandered through the royal library, she discovered an ancient scroll tucked behind a loose stone in the wall. The scroll read, "Beware the enchanted thorn, where forgotten magic is reborn, touch not the rose that does not die, or shadows shall rise beneath the sky." Snow White felt something awaken inside her, a calling. She knew she had to see the thorn with her own eyes. Snow White left at dawn, riding alone on her white mare, Luna. Crossing the snowy peaks of Frostveil, the wind howled like whispers, warning her to turn back. But her courage never wavered. Days passed. She battled biting winds, crossed frozen rivers, and slept under starry skies with only her cloak for warmth. At last, she reached a deep, forgotten valley, dark, silent, and cold. In its center stood a blackened garden, thorned vines wrapped around everything like chains. At the heart of the garden was the rose. It shimmered with blood-red petals and silver frost, untouched by time. As Snow White stepped into the garden, the ground trembled and the sky darkened. A voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere, "She who seeks the thorn must prove her heart, face the first trial, the mirror of doubt." A stone arch rose from the earth, and beneath it stood a mirror, foggy and swirling. Snow White approached the mirror, cleared, revealing not her reflection, but a version of herself twisted by fear. Her eyes were cold, her lips cruel. This reflection spoke, "You are nothing without others. A fragile girl saved by dwarfs and kissed by a prince, you cannot stand alone." Snow White took a breath. "No," she said, "I was kind when I was helpless. I was brave when I was afraid. I am more than what saved me, I am what I chose to become." The mirror cracked and crumbled to dust. The vines around the garden shifted, allowing her deeper inside. The voice returned, "She who holds truth must now face pain, the second trial, the pool of memory." She followed a path of glowing stones to a still, silver pool. Snow White knelt and touched the water. Images rushed up, her stepmother's cruel gaze, the poisoned apple, her years in hiding, the betrayal, the fear. Then her mother's face, warm, gentle, full of light. Snow White wept, not from sorrow, but from the strength of remembering who she was and who she had lost. The pool shimmered gold, then vanished. A new path opened, lined with roses made of ice. At the heart of the garden stood a pedestal with the enchanted rose. As she stepped forward, the final trial began. "You may take the rose, and end the curse, but all magic has a cost." A voice rose from the rose itself, the spirit of the garden, it explained. "This garden was created by your ancestors. The rose holds forbidden magic. If taken, it could bring great power or terrible ruin. But it can also restore what once was lost, a life, a memory, a home." Snow White's hands trembled. She thought of her mother, of the people she could help with such magic. Snow White whispered, "I do not need magic to lead or love. Let the rose remain, as a warning and a promise." She turned away. The rose glowed brightly, then dimmed. The garden sighed with peace. A final whisper came, "You have passed not by taking, but by letting go." The path home was easier, the snow seemed warmer, the winds calmer. Snow White returned to her kingdom, changed, not with a rose in hand, but with a light in her heart.